Welcome to this explainer. If you're a focused learner who absolutely loves breaking down the DNA of great storytelling, well, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're taking a really fascinating look at an essay analyzing a quiet, kinda understated Australian show called Troppo. I am so excited to share this with you because the source material we're looking at today fundamentally deconstructs what might just be modern television's biggest flaw, and it shows us exactly how Troppo fixes it. Audiences don't invest in puzzles. They invest in people. This is the core thesis of our source essay today, and wow, is it a powerful hook. Think about the streaming industry right now. We get these massive marketing campaigns, grand declarations of redefining storytelling, and just endless twists. But the essay argues that, somewhere along the line, the industry completely forgot this basic golden rule of narrative. Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1, the modern television problem, mistaking complexity for depth. So, to really understand why Troppo is so effective, we first have to look at the widespread fatigue audiences are feeling toward prestige crime dramas right now. Modern television has developed this really unfortunate habit of mistaking complexity for depth. Writers today constantly pile twists upon twists, creating these super convoluted mystery boxes. They layer on exhausting amounts of emotional trauma, and the protagonists? They're almost always portrayed as these brilliant geniuses who are crippled by addiction or arrogance, basically alienating everyone around them. Add in some forced romantic tension, and you've got a recipe that leaves viewers way more exhausted than entertained. But here's the crucial point. People are messy, and honestly, that is far more interesting than perfection. Troppo, which is adapted from Candace Fox's novel Crimson Lake, totally subverts all those exhausting tropes. It arrived without the massive, deafening marketing campaigns of prestige dramas. Instead, it just quietly delivered authentic, flawed, and incredibly resilient humanity. Moving right along to Section 2, Sun-Drenched Australian Noir, the evolution of crime TV.
Let's take a quick walk through this timeline to see how we got here. For decades, Australian crime TV focused heavily on community policing and realism. Think Blue Heelers back in the 1990s, where crime was disruptive but understandable, right? Then, in the 2000s, international Scandi noir hits like The Killing really shifted expectations, making crime TV way moodier and psychological. By the 2010s, Australia adapted these global trends, filtering them through its own distinctive cultural identity, with shows like Mystery Road, which really embraced those vast landscapes. And that brings us to the present, with Troppo, which utilizes a vibrant, tropical Queensland setting to create something entirely new.
Which brings us to this brilliant concept, sun-drenched noir. The essay defines this as a genre characterized by a fascinating contradiction, where bright skies and breathtaking tropical scenery exist right alongside violence and corruption. This isn't a cold urban environment or some snow-covered landscape. Troppo uses the vibrant, sweltering setting of Queensland as an active participant that literally shapes the story. It isn't just a backdrop, it is a living, breathing part of the narrative. Up next, Section 3. Ted and Amanda, the heart of Troppo. And this brilliantly illustrates the dynamic between our two leads. First, we have Ted Concoffey, played by Thomas Jane. He's a man entirely defined by restraint and caution. He exists in this kind of suspended identity, a former detective whose life imploded after false accusations. His social exile and silent trauma mean he desperately seeks control. Now compare that to Amanda Farrell, played by Nicole Chamoun. She is controlled chaos. She masks deep insecurities and hidden loneliness with hope, deep empathy, and she completely embraces unpredictability. Ted's silent trauma is just perfectly balanced by Amanda's chaotic compassion. What's genuinely remarkable about their dynamic is that it prioritizes friendship and trust over forced romance. In contemporary television, it feels like every single meaningful interaction requires sexual tension, doesn't it? The source essay highlights how revolutionary it feels that Troppo relies purely on platonic trust. Amanda believes Ted deserves another chance long before he believes it himself, and that faith is exactly what transforms them. Section 4. Paradise as Purgatory, the symbolism of Queensland. Notice the amazing duality of this setting. Initially, Queensland looks absolutely idyllic. You've got crystal waters, endless sunshine. But beneath that tourist advertisement surface is oppressive heat and an environment totally indifferent to human suffering. The landscape actually reflects the characters' hidden wounds and shame. It's essentially a purgatory. These individuals are trapped between their past guilt and their future hope, and they're completely unable to just outrun their unresolved traumas.
This detail is literally one of my favorites from the analysis. Water conceals threats, rather than cleansing them. Traditionally, in literature and film, water symbolizes renewal, transformation, and cleansing, right? Well, Troppo flips this entirely on its head. In this show, water hides bodies, makes evidence vanish, and conceals danger right beneath those calm surfaces. Just like the characters themselves, appearances are incredibly deceptive.
Let's move to Section 5, the Season 2 trap, ambition versus clarity.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the objective critique it offers of the series. No show is perfect, right? If we look at the clear contrast between the two seasons, Season 1, rated 8.5 out of 10, had a brilliantly clear structure. It put character first and mystery second. The pacing was disciplined, and revelations felt earned because it was adapted directly from the source novel. Season 2, however, dropped slightly to a 7.5. Freed from the source material, it pushed into an original narrative direction with massive ambition, but it stumbled a bit into convoluted plotting, multiplying suspects, and excess. Basically, Season 1's disciplined storytelling fractured a bit when Season 2 tried to be too clever.
Which brings us to this absolutely crucial takeaway from the text. Emotional clarity often matters more than narrative density. Season 2 is still good, for sure. The thematic exploration of trauma is incredibly strong, but it temporarily fell into that modern TV trap we discussed at the very beginning. It assumed audiences equate complex conspiracies with intelligence. But as the essay beautifully points out, clarity of character always matters more than how dense a mystery is. And finally, Section 6, the power of connection and why Troppo matters. Ultimately, the series holds a very strong 8 out of 10 overall rating, and it transcends standard crime television because of these core themes. It's all about redemption through vulnerability and relationships. It tackles the grueling struggle of reconstructing your identity and really acknowledging generational trauma. But most importantly, it finds hope despite traditional noir cynicism. Remember, traditional noir is deeply, deeply cynical. Institutions fail, people betray each other, and isolation wins. Troppo stands out because it acknowledges all that darkness, but it proves that healing is actually possible when broken people support each other. So I want to leave you with a final, provocative question. Can broken people truly find connection? The essay argues that Troppo answers this with a resounding yes. Authentic human experiences, even in a sun-drenched purgatory full of murder and corruption, transcend the mysteries themselves. It is such a powerful reminder that at the end of the day, we aren't really looking for the perfect puzzle. We're looking to connect. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and definitely keep seeking out those authentic stories.